My name is Daniel Thomas. I'm the president of the Love March movement and a medical doctor in Jamaica. The Love March movement is a youth Christian organization for sexual purity and the family. And we're really excited to have celebrated 10 years this year, 10 years of advocacy and ministry in these two areas, sexual purity and the family. Thanks so much for having me. So, it's important to note that there have been significant efforts to differentiate sex and gender to cause that there would seem to be some kind of divorce between the two concepts, that sex no longer has anything to do with gender. Well, you can judge an idea by its implications. The ideas surrounding gender, that it has nothing to do with biological sex, those ideas have led to all kinds of evil things. The proliferation of genital mutilation, of healthy sexual organs, and the treatment of children with hormone therapy, causing sterilization and all kinds of negative effects on the lives of children. Okay? Many states, many places in the United States are moving to allow children to be able to go and walk into a gender clinic and say that they don't feel like they are the sex that they were actually born. They don't feel that way. And they can walk out with a prescription for hormone therapy that can destroy their lives, causing them to not be able to have children, etc., etc. Many of them are regretting it. So that is one way to look at it. Obviously, gender has something to do with sex, because when it is divorced from biological sex, there are all these crazy things that start to happen, which are really disastrous. But from a foundational perspective, the ideas concerning gender related to masculine and feminine, and if you look at the foundation, the same person that started the kind of experimental surgeries, quote unquote sex change surgeries, is the same person that created this philosophical foundation that they have built this whole idea on, the differentiation between sex and gender. That is Dr. John Money. Okay, a lot of highly unethical experiments were done and really, really awful stuff. But suffice to say, it is categorically false to say that gender and sex have no relationship, right? Sex and gender in reality are very, very closely linked, right? Your sex does inform your gender. Now you can have a male who is a bit effeminate, or a female who has some masculine traits, might be a tomboy when she's younger. But traditionally, we know that when teenagers have had these feelings, they eventually grow out of it. But what has been happening in the United States is that whereas 10 years ago, the rates of gender dysphoria were 1 in 10,000, now because of the social re-engineering, right, which is going to take us to the next question about the University of the West Indies gender policy, the social engineering has caused the rates of gender dysphoria to skyrocket to 2%, 2 in every 100 young people. So these are crazy. That has an increase of 2,000% in that which is actually a mental illness, gender dysphoria. And so what the University of the West Indies has posited on the foundational ideas being put forward by the Gender Studies Department, what they are putting forward is to cause that all university policies, contracts, all standards ranging from admission to graduation to documentation to forms, at every aspect of university life will reflect this ridiculous and seriously corrupted idea that sex and gender are divorced and have nothing to do with each other, and that you should be obligated as faculty or contractual workers, independent staff, or anybody affiliated with the university should be mandated and obligated to refer to persons by what they decide that they are, their gender identity, which is just straight madness, right? We see how these ideas are playing out across the United States with students just getting very hysterical, demanding that that facilitators, lecturers refer to big thick men as women, and obvious women as men, and commanding them to call them he when they're obviously females. Okay, we see the impact on the female sports, the death of female sports, the victimization of women. We see what is happening in Scotland, where a man was put away for rape of a woman, of course. Well, raping a woman, and then decided that before the judge he is now a female, and told the court that he's a female, and the court put this guy in the female prison. He's a rapist, and so the thing is being shown to be completely ridiculous. It is clear that many in the United States no longer know even what it is. What does it mean for a woman? What is the definition of the word woman? Ted Cruz asked the question, is there any difference between males and females? And the head of the Human Rights Watch could not answer such a simple question. And so these kinds of ideologies are causing persons to lose knowledge, to really become laughable. And we hope that in the Caribbean region that the people of God would rise up to defend the concepts of male and female, to protect women from victimization, to protect the integrity of academic discussions, freedom of speech, religion, and conscience. All those things are under threat. And it is very, very obvious. If just look at Canada, look at the United States. In New York, if a man says he's a woman and you call him a man, you are fined. You can be fined over 100,000 US dollars. It sounds ridiculous, but it is true. And these countries are reorganizing their societies around ridiculous, foolish, and corrupt ideas. Jamaica, the rest of the Caribbean, we should not go that way and become a laughing stock as they are. We have to protect our women from these ideologies. And you see the classical feminists coming out and fighting against these ideas. So let us continue to stand for truth and righteousness. That is the solid foundation that our laws, our policies, and of course our universities should be based. Because if we build a foundation on ridiculous ideas, it's only going to cause the house to come down in fine style. And it is the weakest who will suffer the most. Blessings.